Hey there, interwebs. Previously on Flagshaming. Number 32. Minnesota. We've got another seal on a sheet. Sorta. See, this isn't actually Minnesota's state seal. They simplified it for the flag, and yes, this really is the simplified version. Unfortunately, they got the worst of both worlds with this design. The seal is still too complicated to look good on a flag, and it's missing the details that make the official seal look nice. Ironically, they would have been better off using their actual seal on a bedsheet. Shame! Bluefield, -1. This is terrible and nobody likes it. Jesus, Odin's in Christ, deliver me from these terrible designs. First of all, Bluefield, -1. Now for the seal. As I said when discussing Georgia's design, good flags are distinct. Bad flags have other, better flags on them. If you've got the American flag on your flag, then shame on your flag! Here's something you should understand. The honeybee is the official state insect of no fewer than 17 states, but Utah is the beehive state. Bees are their thing. If you see a bee on something state-related, the smart money's on Utah. Longtime viewers of this channel, hopefully, know that it's not uncommon for me to release a video sometime in December looking back on the year past, and this year is no exception. That's because it saw the official adoption of not one, but two new state flags, and I'm happy to report that both designs are improvements over their predecessors. Of course, that's not to say that either one is perfect, because there's only one perfect flag design and the great state of Maryland already has dibs on it, and I've got some constructive notes, so let's dive right in. Minnesota's new flag features an 8-pointed star, a classic symbol of statehood, on a dark blue hoist with a lighter blue fly. The latter represents the abundant waters of the land of 10,000 lakes, while the former represents the night sky, home to the North Star, or should I say, the Star of the North. You see, due to a quirk of 18th century cartography, Minnesota's northernmost point is the so-called northwest angle, the only point in the contiguous United States north of the 49th parallel, which makes Minnesota the northernmost state in the lower 48. They're quite proud of this Northeast title, and some of their state nicknames include the North Star State and the Star of the North, or to use the latter's proper French translation, l'Étoile du Nord. This is also Minnesota's official state motto, which makes it the only state with a French motto. If you told me there was only one state with a French motto, I would have guessed Louisiana, but we live and learn. C'est la vie. I should also add that the shape of the dark blue area is a hyper-stylized rendition of the state's outline. I seem to recall that Wyoming did something similar with the dark blue area on their flag. Judged on my usual 5-point rubric, this new design gets a perfect score. It's simple, uses meaningful symbolism, only 3 basic colors, 0 words, and is relatively distinct. If I were to assign it a letter grade, I'd have to give it an A, but I'm going to give it an A- for one simple reason. It's not as good as it could have been. You see, the design which was officially adopted was not the one originally proposed. The flag Minnesota has was officially known as A2, a worrying indication of design by committee, the Minnesota State Emblems Redesign Commission, to be specific. The base design they modified was proposed by Andrew Precker, and it looked like this. It's freaking gorgeous. Sure, it technically fails on point 3 by using 4 colors, but I've already talked before on how I think 3 colors might be a little too limiting. The additional green represents the land of 10,000 lakes, or in the designer's own words, nature and agriculture. The white stripe on top represents snow, winter, and northiness, and the light blue stripe obviously still represents the lakes of the land of etc. It's hard for me to say what exactly, but I really do feel that these stripes contribute to the overall flagginess of the design. I previously complained that New Mexico's flag doesn't look flaggy enough, and my proposed solution was to add some stripes to that design too. There's just something about horizontal stripes that says flag to me, but that dark blue hoist also elevates this design above a plain white, green, and blue tri-bar. I'm glad the committee kept it, but I wish they'd kept the stripes too. You need both of the elements for maximum aesthetic appeal. The star of A2 was also modified from the original to more closely resemble the 8-pointed star in the Minnesota State Capitol Rotunda, but I prefer the original shape, which better evokes a compass rose. Basically, this design is just a little too simplified, a trait which it, ironically, shares with its overly complicated predecessor. Right, on to Utah. Back in 2019, I advised Utah to really lean into the beehive motif in the matter of flag design, and now I'm happy to say that they did. Yes, just as Louisiana has the fleur de lis, Pennsylvania is the Keystone State, and Minnesota's got l'Étoile du Nord, Utah has the beehive. It was present on their former state flag, now their official historic state flag, but they embiggened it and made it the central identity of their new flag, so much so that its official name is the Beehive flag, just as Utah's official nickname is the Beehive State. This beehive flag shares numerous design elements with the state's quasquicentennial flag, celebrating 1¼ centuries, or 125 years, of statehood. And your word of the day is quasquicentennial. In addition to the big obvious beehive, it's also got blue on top, red on the bottom, and white in between. Or should I say in between? No, I probably shouldn't. Anyhow, the blue on top represents wide open skies, while the red at the base represents the Red Rock Canyons, and the white is snow. These colors also represent the usual abstract concepts like freedom, peace, and perseverance from top to bottom. Now, given what I just said about Minnesota's new flag, you hopefully won't be surprised to learn that I like the decision to go with horizontal stripes, but what I love is the artistic choice to change up their shape. One of my favorite obscure flags belongs to the Dutch province of Overijssel. It too uses horizontal stripes, but by making the middle blue stripe wiggly, it immediately reminds you of a river, even if you've never heard of the river IJssel, which gives the province its name. Utah has done something very similar with their stripes. The top of the white stripe clearly evokes snow-capped mountains, while the indented red stripe connotes corresponding canyons. Cool. When you combine these two lines of division for the field, they also frame the design's central hexagon, which is obviously one cell of a honeycomb, and brings things back to bees. So, what grade does it get? Well, it's a simple enough design with no writing, which uses meaningful symbolism that makes it distinct but also clearly American, so it can't do any worse than a B, but it's technically over the color limit. Yes, just like Precker's original design for Minnesota's flag, Utah's new flag also uses 4 colors rather than the prescribed 2 or 3, but I believe it's right to do so. Just as how the green stripe representing land and agriculture on Precker's design added a certain je ne sais quoi pour les trois du Nord, pardon my French, I feel the bright splash of honey gold enriches what would otherwise be yet another boring red, white, and blue design. As I've said before, it's not how many colors you have, but rather how you use them. The state flags of Colorado, Arizona, and Maryland, shut up, all use 4 colors, and they all look better than the flags of Indiana, Nebraska, and Oregon, which only use 2 or 3. The Pride flag and the flag of South Africa use 6 colors each, yet they still look fantastic. In case you can't already tell, I love this new design, so even though I can't technically give it an A, I'm still giving it my plus of approval, netting an apropos B+ for the beehive flag. Before we wrap up, though, it wouldn't really be flag shaming if I didn't shame something, so shame on the 451,366 Mainers who served up the second most disappointing outcome of last month's election. For those of you who don't already know, the 2024 Maine flag referendum, or Question 5 as it was officially known, proposed to make the former state flag, aka the pine tree flag, the official state flag once again. This gorgeous 1901 design is everything a flag should be, simple, iconic, and easily recognizable, which is why so many Maine-based businesses and individuals use it instead of the uninspired blue SOB, and yet almost 56% of voters chose not to restore it to its proper status. Especially frustrating is the fact that this isn't the first time this has happened in recent years. In 2021, LD 115, sponsored by Representative Sean Palhus, proposed to restore the former state flag with testimony from 13 individuals, none dissenting, but it was eventually defeated by Maine legislature, and before that, the bill to change the flag to something closer to the 1901 design died in committee in 2019. Efforts to reinstate the pine tree flag also failed twice in the 90s. The one ray of hope in all of this is that every time an effort to use the old flag gets started, it seems to come a little closer to fruition. Until that day comes, however, Maine will continue to make the wrong decision, and I will continue to shame them for it. Shame! With that, thanks for watching, and have a nice day and a Happy New Year.